And so my colleagues and I believe that humanity can escape annihilation, can find a temporary haven, a promise of hope that, come what may, life can be sustained deep within the earth itself. Far below the surface, we shall seek a natural, a geological shelter.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shut Up and Watch. I'm Alicia, and today I have two guests, not just one, but two.
Just so many guests.
That's two's better than one.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Julia Stumba.
I'm the regular guest, Mona.
Yeah.
Two out of three is pretty good so far.
Yeah, Julia is my friend and roommate, and Mona's just my friend.
Julia's your friend, roommate, lover.
Lover.
I don't really like to define our relationship.
I mean, yeah.
Honestly, there's no way to define what you guys have. It transcends
That's
love
what we say.
or codependence. Just mutual existence.
It's just pure codependence, actually.
Every time I see one of them alone, it's kind of like, oh, it's like a
When has
missing
that
limb.
ever happened?
Oh, well, I go to Movie Pass with you, but that's...
Okay. I don't have a movie pass. It's fine.
That's why she couldn't go see Rampage.
Rampage about the albino King Kong with the Rock.
That one was...
That's not getting a podcast. Let's just say that.
Let's not write it off.
Yeah, I'd listen to a Rampage podcast.
Okay, if we did podcasts at the rate we saw movies...
Oh, yeah.
We didn't take every time Alicia and I go to a movie, we take Movie Pass Girl pictures on Snapchat, and my loyal followers are gonna realize that they missed one.
Yeah.
Movie Pass Girl's number 6. We'll have to recreate it. Not with you, Julia, obviously.
I mean, obviously. Why would you include me?
So, today, I should probably mention this. We're talking about A Quiet Place, John Krasinski's most recent film.
Excuse me, and?
Yeah.
Who else's most recent film? Emily Blunt's?
Yeah,
I mean, because
much?
he directed it. I'm talking
It's
about the director.
2018.
Mona.
Okay,
Alicia?
well then you need to clarify that, because is this his first time directing?
No, it turns out it's not. And his other stuff, his first one was called The Haulers, and people say it's wildly mediocre. So, yeah.
True.
But this is his first one that has done well. It did super well at South by Southwest. That's where it premiered. And money-wise, it has also been cruising.
Money.
Must be funny. No, that's different.
This is
Man,
what it happens
Okay,
to the
Julia
best of
can
us.
exit. Thank you. So first I want to talk a little bit about the horror genre. So this film is kind of horror meets sci-fi, right? And it's about a family trying to stay protected. Well, mostly the parents trying to protect their children from some sort of unexplained alien that has an insane sense of hearing. And so
But
hence
they're
the
blind.
title, But They're Blind. So this got me thinking about how horror has changed over the past since film started, really. So we can kind of separate horror into different eras, because in the 50s there was a new interest in space and technology, and there were a lot of B movies, drive-in movies, and an emergence of an association between sci-fi movies and monster movies. And this was also the beginning of Cold War sci-fi. So we had stuff like The Blob, The Thing from Another World, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, etc. And there were just a lot of themes of xenophobia and paranoia, mostly due to the fear of communist invasion. And then the 60s got more artistic in terms of horror and sci-fi. I think a major landmark for this is Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. And the 70s kind of had a fear of and a commentary on hippies and youth culture. And after the 80s, with Alien and The Thing and stuff like that, sci-fi kept churning out good stuff, in my opinion. But there was a bit of a lull in horror film, or at least good/artistic horror film. And that's why people have said that, there's been a renaissance of horror recently. And I think overall horror films nowadays have more of a focus on humanization This film is an example of that. Like, horror and sci-fi are secondary to the human story, and there's a focus on the people more than the aliens. I remember when we came out of this movie, Julia, you said that the alien design just seemed really, like, familiar and kind of old.
I felt like I'd seen it before in a million movies and TV shows.
I was thinking about that and how just bumped into a piano. How, like, nowadays monster and alien design seems a little bit static, but the monster and alien stories are getting more creative and there's more of a range. The design of aliens seems to be sort of the, like, talons and arms and lots of openings, and, like, it unfolds a million times.
I feel like you're generally supposed to be grossed out by it. There's generally kind of like there's, like, slime on it, or it's just kind of, like, it looks like muscle, like it's some kind of, like, it doesn't have skin. Like, I feel like that's the general, like, kind of vaguely gross with a lot of teeth.
So many
ideal.
teeth. Yeah. And this seems to be, like...
Yeah, it did look like a Demogorgon.
I mean, Krasinski, like, cited Alien as an influence for the creature design for this movie, and you can definitely see it in Stranger Things, and I'm also thinking of Super 8, which is, like, a blatant reference to that era of film. But in some cases also, the alien design has changed, I think, to an early notion that the alien looks like us, or looks humanoid, like in Annihilation and Signs. And
the best movie of all time.
What is Signs?
Your worst enemy.
Mel Gibson.
Oh no.
Mel Gibson, America's sweetheart. But I also think that now we also have more stories without origin explanations. So we're just thrown into this dystopian or post-apocalyptic world and are asked to follow the personal story of the human character instead of question the world. An example of this that I saw recently was It Comes at Night. So yeah, that's just my little intro rant, I guess. So, also I'll give a quick rundown of the background of the film. It was co-written and directed by John Krasinski. So
did he come up with the premise of the film?
No, these two guys, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, were originally writing the screenplay, and then they showed him the spec screenplay, and he got involved, and then Emily Blunt, his wife, encouraged him to direct it, and then she asked if she could, like, star opposite him.
Yeah, you know, when I'm older, that's what's gonna happen to me. My husband's just gonna be like, yeah, do this, and we're gonna be like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna become a famous actress. Yeah. So
okay. And then I'm gonna be, like, 20 million times better than my husband in the movie that he directed.
Wow, you really just came for John Krasinski.
I mean, he was good, but oh my god, she was just so good.
Here's my thing about acting in horror films. I was recently watching a behind the scenes of the making of Annabelle, which is like has like a bunch of like little girls in it. I can scream and cry on cue, okay? I can do it.
Yeah,
ask me to.
I feel like there was more to it in this one, at least. With certain horror movies, I feel like that's definitely the case. But with this one, I don't know. I feel like there was more depth because at least she wasn't just focused on trying to save herself. It was like a family drama thing.
But he was trying to save.
He literally died.
Yeah, but
he sacrificed himself.
Like,
to
her
save his
performance was so
children.
much more compelling to me.
Okay,
was
so
it
I was
just
arguing that their
pregnant?
storyline were like equally challenging.
No, I mean I'm just saying that's what makes it different from other horror movies. Not that's what like makes the characters different, or the actors different. But like I just thought she shone.
Shined.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
But so this is why we're not an English podcast. I don't know, like, I feel like her and John were on the same level. Like, first of all, she lost track of one of her kids.
They're both horrible parents. I just want to put that out there. They are the worst parents in the entire world.
Yeah,
I was
trying to save
really
their children
angry.
from their own.
No, they're not trying to save their children. They mortgaged their two current children to save their future child. They made that decision. They were like, "Go run off and try to save this baby into like the cornfield full of
dumbass
monsters."
character did. He was just like,
"Come on, that baby is gonna have a long, happy life inside a box
with like an oxygen.
Oxygen.
How did that
breathe
happen?
oxygen. Yeah. First of all, why give birth to an infant when you couldn't even keep track of your 2-year-old son?
Oh my god, don't.
Yeah.
And so when I said that to Alicia after the movie, I was like, why would they have a baby in this situation? Like, I do not care. Like, you know, if you want to bang, don't have a baby. And Alicia was like, what do you want her to do?
I mean, no,
have an abortion?
I
Yes.
do think it's the stupidest
That
thing in
would
the
be
world.
safer
But
and
also,
better for
I
the
do
baby.
wonder how she would be able to perform an abortion.
I'm curious how they had quiet ass sex. That's what I was thinking the entire fucking time. Or they're just like having sex. And
It's
just
like, okay, you can't play Monopoly normally. You have to use little felt pieces and pom poms, but you can have sex at like a
coitus just naturally is loud. Like, even if you're not like a screamer or any of that kind of stuff, like grunt, like they couldn't even whisper. So you think like.
I thought the Monopoly thing was cute. I mean, obviously, it didn't really make sense if you like think about the rest of the film. Like, in terms of like, if that level of noise was what drew them in, then obviously they would never be able to win.
But it's well, why would you even risk?
Exactly.
Tapping?
Exactly. I thought it was the little like aspects of the film where it shows them trying to be quiet, or like the ways they've like learned to adapt to this world. I thought that was cool. It kind of brought you more to the world.
I loved like it had an insane eye for detail. I thought with the Monopoly pieces and like. There's no doors and whatever, but at the same time,
and the sand,
yeah.
There were no doors.
But at the same time, it's like the rules overall were like super inconsistent for sure, and I guess it just kind of depends whether you're the type of person who's like willing to put up with that or not. Like I could go either way, but yeah, and also with the baby thing. Okay, so some people are apparently taking like a pro-life stance on it. And like, I feel like probably not.
No, but
I think that it might just be representative of like them trying to cling to some sort of normalcy and like human. Because you know when she goes upstairs and she goes to the son's old room, and there's all those pictures hanging on frames on the wall. And I was like, why the hell would they have pictures hanging on in wooden and metal frames on the walls, but they don't allow their kids to use regular Monopoly pieces? Like, obviously, if somebody knocked one of those frames off, it would fall and make a far louder noise than some of the stuff that they, like, aren't allowed to make. But I felt like maybe that was to kind of show the way that they're, just trying to hang on to any sort of semblance of human life. Normal life. What?
What if he snores?
He's dead.
How do you stop yourself from snoring?
Oh, my dad would be dead. Yeah.
My dad would also.
I think all dads would be dead.
Yeah,
John Krasinski's a dad.
You gotta like wedge something in your mouth, like a sock or something.
No.
You need to just
I mean,
like.
I'm assuming. Well, I mean, if you went to a store, you could get like an anti-snoring mouth guard or something.
First
You
of
just
all,
you
the
take a
world,
washcloth, you
apocalypse,
put some
and
chloroform on it,
They were
and
in-
you shove it in your
They
mouth.
were in a
Lisa's
grocery
talking about
store.
murder.
Yes, Alicia usually is.
Ah, you got me again.
Had it again. Okay, first of all, to start off the movie, they were in a grocery store. They could have gotten an anti-snoring guard. Like they got.
But those don't stop snoring. It's just
but
like
they help it.
yes, but it goes like.
Okay,
So
everyone in this movie is dead. I mean, most people, obviously, except for the
Them?
Krasinskis, if you will.
excuse me, the
And
Krasinski
let's
blunts.
assume that if you snore, you die. Like, it's just natural selection. Like, assume none of them snore, because if they did, they'd be dead.
You snore,
That's
you
why
die.
everyone else...
Yeah,
knows
if
that
you're a
you
mouth
snore,
breather, you're
done.
fucking dead.
The bye-bye man.
The poo-poo man.
Poo-poo man. You won't be laughing when he kills you. Yeah. Wow. Makes you think.
Yeah, it really does.
Think about the pee-pee poo-poo man?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about the pee-pee poo-poo man.
Honestly, me too.
Which is why
No, but
I'll die
also,
tonight.
I did not like the youngest boy. Not the young. Well, I guess the only one who lives.
The youngest boy.
So the middle boy, the one who lives. I just didn't like him. He like was too much of a child actor for me. He was doing too much with his face, and I was like, "Kid, you're in a apocalyptic world." And then they just like take him out with his dad, and like, expect him to learn like how to hunt and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like fucking 11.
Yeah, I thought that was, or younger. I thought it was so funny, like having this rugged dad trying to teach his son how to do all this woodsy stuff, and the son clearly isn't having it. I thought that was kind of funny and realistic.
He was good. Actually, he was one of my favorite parts of the movie, and I'm a little offended.
Why
I
was
mean, he
your
was good,
favorite
but
part?
I think Mona
Well,
just
'cause I
hates
thought
children.
I thought it was realistic the way he was reacting, and I thought it was really sweet. The brother and sister.
No,
thing.
the
Yeah, that was
most
cute.
realistic was the girl because she was just like, why aren't you taking me, Dad? And he was like, no.
Well, yeah,
no.
I mean, I'm not like insulting her. Like, they were
Julia,
all
you
great.
bitch.
Everybody in this film was phenomenal. Oscars for all.
Oh.
Participation.
Come on this podcast.
You know, podcasts they can't see you. It's just all talking. So that's the one thing you have to do.
God. Wow.
You really got the face for radio podcast.
That's kind of mean.
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna step outside for a second.
Out of the soundproof booth.
Speaking of the rugged, woodsy thing,
Yeah.
that was the best segue I've ever done.
Krasinski's beard.
I've heard a couple people compare this to the Western genre. And,
Please try to
I kind of
convince
see it.
me.
Because, okay, so apparently his influences were Alien, in the
Cowboys
bedroom,
versus Aliens?
in the bedroom, which I've never heard of. Yes, Cowboys versus Aliens.
Okay.
For a second, I thought Julia was being
starring Daniel
serious, but if you could see her face, you could tell she was joking.
As
Just
they
for
say,
the listeners.
I have the face for radio.
Sorry, Monsters versus Aliens. I always. And
Loki love that.
Actually, Hotel Transylvania.
you know they're making a third one. They showed the preview
Of what?
before Hotel Transylvania,
There's a second one.
starring Adam Sandler.
And Selena Gomez. How's Selena Gomez? Okay.
Why are we even talking about this movie? We should be talking about that.
I know.
Hotel Transylvania 3 showing right now, Williamsburg, Virginia. Let's go. Let's do this. Adam Sandler's fan club. Okay, transition to the Western.
Okay, yeah, right. So, and then his third influence was No Country for Old Men, which is like a neo-Western.
What?
But I don't know, there's some elements, well, it's a neo-Western, neo-noir. And I see some elements of that movie in this movie with, like, suspense building and that, you know, they live this, like, agrarian lifestyle and whatever. But, yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know if there's anything there.
I didn't see one
But
cowboy hat, so it's not a Western.
I think if there had been a cowboy hat, it would have been a better movie.
I
I'll let John
categorize
know.
film genres by their hats. The cowboy hat is Western.
Were there
the
any hats
fedora
in this movie?
is my favorite movie. And then that's it. Those are the only two.
Were there any hats in this movie?
Wait, what
Serious
other kind of
question.
hats are
I don't
there?
think there were any hats. A hat would be
No.
too loud, Julie.
No, wait, wasn't the little
The
boy
tip
wearing a
would be
beanie
too
before
loud.
he died?
Oh, I think the message in this movie was wear a hat and die. Okay, we figured out the rules. If you snore or wear a hat, you die.
Right.
And if you're pregnant and give birth, you don't die.
Then you are fine.
Yeah, woo!
You are doing
Go
all
ahead.
right.
The scariest part of that movie by far is when John Krasinski's character runs up to the bathroom and he thinks she's dead, and then her bloody hand.
That was
Like, but the problem is
the
blood,
most predictable jump scare
No,
I have ever seen
but
in my
it
life.
wasn't, like, the thing about it for me is, like, it's not like, oh, she was stabbed as blood. Like, that's birth blood.
Ew.
Yeah. I liked that. That was interesting how that was the one moment of, like, gore, or, well, no. I guess there are two moments of gore or, like, blood that aren't related to the monsters, and they're both with Emily Blunt's character. It's the bathtub, like the birth,
nail.
and then the nail.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I also felt like they did. I felt like a couple things in this movie were just too obvious to be
There's
scary.
so much
One of
set
them,
up.
One of them was the jump scare with the hand on the glass.
But it still scared you. I don't
I
understand.
mean, it just makes you jump because it's sudden and everything's quiet.
I mean,
when
that's
they
what
make
a
loud
jump
noise,
scare is.
That's
But,
what a horror movie
but
is.
I know, but like you just saw that coming. You knew she was
I
gonna.
want horror
you knew
movies
something
to
in the bathroom was gonna
challenge
jump out.
me.
Yeah,
I do
but,
though.
But that's like
Okay.
the point.
And the nail, they built up to that so obviously. It was
Yeah,
like
that's
they
what-
like zoom in on the nail for 3 minutes. They're like, she is
That's
going
what
to
That's
horror
step
the
on
point. That's
this
are.
dread.
No.
Julia
No.
wants. I want to be a puzzle. I want to be working through this as I'm watching, and not get it until 30 minutes after the film.
But don't you want to be
I
like
also love those
genuinely
types of
shocked sometimes? Not just
When,
be like,
is
okay,
there
this is
any
gonna...
horror movie you've ever been genuinely scared in?
I mean, yeah, I'm scared all the time. Like I live my life afraid.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're just turning into a therapy session.
Julia's currently lying on like a brown leather couch.
I'm wearing glasses.
Oh,
I like it. I like where this is going.
Therapists wear like red glasses.
red?
Yeah, they're like 60-year-old women who are like, I've lived life.
Are they on like a
long enough."
chain? Are they on a chain?
Of course, like
Okay.
a funky chain
I
I
wore
got
those
from
in
the
the
MoMA.
fourth grade,
Aren't they
actually.
always an old man? I'm thinking of Mad Men.
Mad Men.
He's an old man, a wrinkly old man.
Anyway, The Sopranos has a woman therapist.
Huh.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, back to I don't know what we're talking about.
Quiet Place or Quiet Place or No Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place.
I think it's just called Silent.
Or, yeah, Rahul just kept calling it Silent.
So do you not agree with me that jump scare was too predictable? With the bloody hand?
I don't think it was trying to not be predictable.
But the bloody hand on the glass is just like, I feel like I've seen it in they did it in Teen Wolf. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's cliche, but like, I don't know, I don't really have a problem with it.
Okay, I guess I do.
What was the last horror movie you guys watched? Besides this?
Like, one that was in theaters?
Anyone.
I feel like you and I watched, like, some Netflix horror movie when we lived in a hotel a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Did we? Oh.
Did you live in a hotel?
No, but we gave up on it. We gave up on it because it was so bad, but not in a fun way. It was just boring. I don't even remember what
it was so boring.
What was it?
There was some rustic house, that's all I remember.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be haunted, but we didn't.
That's every single horror movie since 1990.
Yeah. And, like, all color was drained out of it. It was... Yeah,
I know that. Sometimes when I watch horror films, it looks like they just, like, dulled everything.
Yeah.
But not in, like, a cool artistic way. It's just, like, you're, like, accidentally, like, dialed down the contrast. You're like, whoa!
Like it was left out in the rain. Yeah.
That was
I don't know what the, like, last one I feel like it might have been, like, a Saw when I was at home.
Because I don't watch horror films very often because I find that I can't find ones that genuinely scare me.
I don't like gore.
Al Gore?
Hate that guy. No, I don't like gore, so I feel like that limits my choice of horror movies.
Well, like, what about, like, The Shining?
I haven't seen that. Alicia says I should. I just want to make a discllaimer. A Quiet Place or A Silent Place, whatever it's called, is the first movie I've ever seen in my life. So this was a big
I know. Julia always was like, we were like, get a movie pass. She's like, I've seen one movie.
It was Signs, starring Mel Gibson. And I was like, I'm done, I don't need to see any more movies.
I can die happy.
Mel Gibson, check.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
We went on a few tangents or so.
Okay.
You said that the both instances of body horror involved Emily Blunt, and then we really spiraled down from there.
really got on Emily. Emily Blunt is playing Mary Poppins next with Lin-Manuel.
Yeah. Why is Lin-Manuel in it? No offense.
Who's
Dick
Lin-Manuel in that?
The Chimney Sweep.
Is he gonna do a Cockney accent?
Yeah, well, the problem is Dick Van Dyke couldn't act or sing. Lin-Manuel
that
can't
seems
act.
like a bold claim.
He's in it. Dick Van Dyke is in it, but who's he gonna be?
Wait, Dick Van Dyke is still alive?
Yes, Dick Van Dyke's just old as shit.
Haven't you seen Night at the Museum?
He's in that?
Yeah, he is.
Who's
imagine?
Night at the Museum?
I played the Chimney Sweep and Von Trapp father, Papa Von Trapp.
You played both?
Yeah.
Wait, why were you
How
the
could
father?
you possibly?
Yes, Dick Van Dyke was the father in The Sound of Music.
What?
Google it.
No, isn't that Christopher Plummer?
Oh,
It's absolutely Christopher Plummer. Like, even I know that.
Oh no, nobody listened to this.
I've seen 2 movies, and even I know that.
Also, I thought you were just saying you played both the Chimney Sweep and the father in Mary Poppins, and I was like, why?
Why was she cast as the father?
Well, but why are you so hung up on the father and not the Chimney Sweep? Like, why either?
Look at her. She's the perfect chimney sweep. You've got the face for chimney sweeping.
Oh, at least I get to see my face.
Burn.
Good one. It'll be covered in soot.
I look like a fool.
We made the same joke at the same time.
Yeah.
I like the word
Yeah, Emily Blunt has never done a film, though, where I'm like, that was good. You know what I mean? She always does movies. She just, like, does movies. Like, Devil Wears Prada, a movie.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins, a movie. This, a movie. What else was she in?
Girl on a Train, a movie. She was really good in it, but that was... Yeah.
I don't know. She never... I mean, like, the problem I had with this film, and I liked it, was that it was, like, trying to be, like, deep, but I'm like, just scare me. I don't want any of this deep shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, and I heard, like, John Krasinski was like, this is a metaphor for what I would do for my children. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Scare the shit out of me. And then make your coin, honey boo boo. Like, get out of my face. It's not that deep.
So he described it as a love letter to his kids because, he's like, this is what I would go through to protect them.
So he would sacrifice his kids for a new kid.
Trade
exactly.
them
in for a new model.
2 for 1, baby. 2 for 1.
But also, is this bad for me to say. Maybe this is just because I'm not a parent, and all parents are gonna listen to this and be like, "What a little asshole."
All the parents listening to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yours.
my fan base. But it almost seemed like more of a showcase of like himself being a hero. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Like when he sacrificed himself, I kind of was like,
yeah.
You had options.
Yeah,
You had options,
yeah.
child.
His character arc was definitely the absolutely most boring of any character.
But there's no character arc in horror films. Just scare me and live or die. I don't want to hear about your progress. Oh, I love you, and I love you in the moments before I die, my child, even though you killed my other son. Bye, bitch. Like, no. Don't do that. It's a horror movie.
Kill him. That's so.
But
mean.
I really like
this.
Not.
Okay, you are in an apocalyptic world where you can't make a sound.
She was a child. She
was like at least 14, right?
She was like 13.
Okay, and then she was like, her parents said no because if you make a sound, you die. And what she do? She let her brother make a sound.
Living in a horrible post-apocalyptic
world. You had it.
Apocalyptic world. He is miserable, and she's trying to bring one spot of happiness into his life.
Is it worth it if you die?
The batteries were out. Yeah, she should have checked to make sure he didn't bring the batteries. But
you know, I'm not happy right
she's
now.
A kid
chugging an entire bag of beer.
We can confirm that is what she's doing.
It is indeed.
Currently, right now, I'm whipping out a bag of beer.
She carries that around with her wherever she goes.
It's Bush.
Ooh.
No,
it's Kirkland.
No, that's flat tire only.
Flat tire.
Julia at Movie Tavern, when we were ordering drinks at Movie Tavern, it's fat tire, and she's like, "Can I please have a flat tire?" And I'm like, "Okay, got my key. I'm gonna go stab your car."
Stab my car. Yeah, and then I don't think the waitress noticed, and I like apologized for it, but she didn't hear me. And then 5 minutes later, when she like brought it to me, she was like, "Did you say flat tire?"
I'm like, nah.
Nope.
Well, at least she understood what you were saying, so win one for you.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Horror movies. Also, the couple next to us in this movie.
Oh my god!
These two ancient people.
They kept reading everything that was like written on screen.
Yeah, but he kept being like, "Oh no, we know what's about to happen," and like she'd get really scared, and he'd be like, "You okay, honey?" I'm like, "It's cute, but also a quiet."
As they were leaving the theater, the woman turned to us and she was like, "Remember, just stay quiet."
Yeah.
And I was, I did not like that. No, I did not like that.
She looks like an old person who like all of a sudden like blood comes out of her eye.
Yeah, her head spun around 3 times.
Red rum. Yeah. But it was very funny. There are some good movie companions in there. But we were going to go see it, because Movie Tavern's the dine-in theater, but we went and saw it there, and it was kind of frustrating, because like the last 15 minutes they brought us our checks. And I'm like, I'm watching the movie. And that was the movie I decided to get soup.
I don't want to be calculating tip right now. My illusion is shattered.
I know.
Also, I could hear every bite somebody took of popcorn, so
yeah,
that really
What about
resonated
my sips of soup?
Yeah, that was like
soup,
a sweet symphony in my ear.
Soup crunch, soup crunch. The soup just makes a soup noise.
What's a soup noise?
Soup, 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 soup. Soup, soup, soup.
Oh, you're right.
But yeah, I was pretty scared.
Here's my real question: how long would you survive in this world?
Negative 1 second.
No.
I feel like I'd accidentally like fart or something.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Think I would do
I did think about like bowel movements and stuff like that, because the sound of a Monopoly piece just moving on a board, right?
There are already tricks to not make your poop make noise.
But
like, you don't poop in a toilet anymore, obviously.
I guess.
What if you accidentally I've been laughing.
Oh my god, you would die so fast. Your sneezes.
Oh, my sneeze.
Yeah,
I
sneeze like achoo. I'm like, wait, sometimes you can't hold those bad boys.
Alicia sneezes 8 times in a row every time she sneezes.
8
yeah.
Actually?
At a party, I told Louise, I told her that I had sneezers. And Julia and Matt this was freshman year?
Yeah, we had just met and we thought she said that she was having seizures and we were like,
yeah, and then I just like chuckled about it and let the conversation go on, but meanwhile they were like silently huddled over next to each other, like questioning everything. Anyway, I don't have seizures, full disclosure.
You have sneezers.
Yeah.
What if you have hiccups?
I would survive. Here's why. My burps making no noise. Not allowed
Making
to
no noise.
Making no noise.
And my burps.
They're making no noise.
I think that I could live in silence forever if I had no one to talk to. But
oh my god,
would I want to live in silence forever?
Yeah, I'm kind of
hope
die. It looks like a fast and like easy death.
Oh my god, you know who's the worst person in the entire movie?
The
was
guy
the guy
who-
who decided to die while like the son and father who wanted to live were right next to him.
Yeah.
It was like he could have waited 5
like,
minutes to scream and then died, you
Go
know.
to a private space.
Or why would you let the monster kill you? You know?
Well, no, because his wife died, I think, and he just wanted it to be over.
That's such a
you got a
horrible
lot
death.
more out of that scene than I did.
But it's tragic.
No, I read it as they both went out there to die.
Also, did you see that they hung up?
Oh,
Remember when she was
maybe.
giving birth, and they hung up red lights,
Yeah.
and they switched to the red lights when
Oh,
she was
yeah.
giving birth. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And like they set up those fireworks just in case. That was pretty smart.
Mhm.
But remember the kids got stuck in the corn.
Yes.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that before.
That was actually the most horrifying part of the movie, I'm not gonna lie. Because then I started thinking about what it would be like to drown in corn, and I was like, yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
And that's my analysis of that scene. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love corn.
Me too. I had some for lunch.
You did?
Is that true?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check
Sounds
in
like
on
a
this.
lie.
Snow on the cob.
You're gonna break this chair.
But yeah, it was a movie.
I think that on your podcast you should start a ranking system.
I don't
This
like
is
to
my
do
okay.
that.
I'll rank the movie.
But like, how would you rank this versus anything else?
I
just
would
don't
rank
like
this
ranking.
movie a 14. Out of what? That's for you to decide.
83.
Honestly, I mean, like, this is not like a movie I'd be like, oh yeah, go see. You know what I mean?
No, I would say go see it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with Mona.
I mean,
This is so could have been a Netflix movie for moi.
no, but I mean, it could. I don't know. I think it's much better in the theater because the whole part of the experience is like being in the theater where you can't chew your popcorn and you're just like, it's supposed to make you like wildly uncomfortable, and I think it does that.
I could be wildly uncomfortable in my own bed.
with sound with. Oh my god! Lord.
Not once have I
Soundproof
been
headphones.
wildly uncomfortable in my own bed.
I just don't think this broke any like barriers in the horror genre. I think it was really great that they cast a deaf character and a deaf actress, more specifically. I think that was like super great and super important. And it like brought awareness to a specific group of people that would not necessarily take on these roles, aka actors. But like besides that, it was a pretty standard horror film with a slightly more emotional aspect to it, which was great, but it didn't require a cinema. Like, you turn off the lights in your house and you put on the TV, it's the same thing, and you're alone, and that is arguably makes horror films more scary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like this did anything that any other film hasn't done.
I don't know. I still think the premise and the execution are pretty unique. Like,
The execution?
yeah.
In what way?
I think that the use of sound and the use of the lack of sound were really well done. Like, I think it affected me. It affected the whole theater.
But did it require a theater?
I think so.
I think I don't know. So what this movie was lacking for me was that I thought it was an interesting premise, but it's not gonna like haunt me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna have trouble falling asleep because of this movie, you know? It didn't
And
for some reason, and so like that's why I feel like it I don't know. Like, I don't feel like
you have high expectations of movie films.
I just-
horror films.
I just want to not be able to sleep. I want
I
to
wanna
I want
die.
it to
This is
torture
like when you
me.
read Reddit threads
And-
for.
See, I read a lot
hours.
of horror threads online,
And but
so
you
I
don't
really
see any of them.
well, no, I've seen things like Signs starring Mel Gibson.
One
That
more
keeps
time.
me up at night.
I think I'm okay with this not haunting me because the horror films don't really scare me. The stuff that scares me is more realistic stuff or more just like slightly off or unsettling things, like David Lynch type of stuff is what
these was
really freaks me
neither
out.
of them. The silence, I understand this. And okay, listen, I understand that the majority of the movie was silent and that was unique, But in all honesty, what horror film does not utilize silence? Like, horror films nowadays are not the kind of, like, the bum 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 bum, like, Jaws kind of, like, background music. Like, silence is utilized. You know, you're like, quietly open the door.
Well, I don't know. I definitely, I can't help but think of this as unique. Also, just because of, like, the family storyline. It does. I don't think it's the most amazing thing in the world, but it is definitely something that I personally haven't seen before, and something that was, like, fun to think about.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
Thanks, Mona.
That's so
I'll
kind
pay
of you,
back
Mona.
later.
What I have learned from this podcast is I have too high expectations for movies.
Alicia has too low, and I think I'm at the perfect.
Yeah, Mona's perfect.
Mona,
All right, glad
yep.
we established this.
I feel like there were a lot of good planned payoffs, sort of, like the nail. They, like, everything was shown for a reason.
Except for that one time where he was like, don't go down there. And she was like, why not? And he's like, you know why?
Oh, well, the whole basement is something I wanted to talk about, because, so, I am happy with the notion of having no exposition or, like, explanation of the world, right? I don't need that. Like, I like films that, don't include that as long as they're done well. And as long as, like, how we got to the place that we're at now isn't important. But at the same time, if you're gonna do that, just stick to it. Don't have these whiteboards and newspapers littering the basement, being like, what's their weakness? No sight, strong hearing, like da 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 da. And we just didn't need that, and it was shown to us 40 million times.
Really? I like that, because it showed. That was the one thing I liked about John Krasinski's character, is, like, he wasn't just trying to kind of, like survive. He was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it just, I guess the amount that they did it to me was excessive and heavy-handed. I wouldn't mind it if it were in there less. And I think it did contribute to the emotional impact of later when the daughter goes down and sees how hard he's been working.
And I do think that the newspapers were kind of a good way of just giving you, like, a tiny hint of, like,
that there's
the background,
a world.
Without, you know, having to explain how it happened. Just sort of, like, a sign that it's not just here, you know, that it's, like, in a world that, like, we recognize and had, like, the press. That
and they, like, trying to contact other, like, places and they're not answering. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's just, I don't mind its
Alicia
presence.
is wrong.
But its presence
Typical.
was overwhelming.
That's true. That's true. They kept showing them and they kept panning over it, and I was like, okay, we
and
get
then
it.
The old people next to us would always be like, strong hearing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that is the point of the film.
Also a question. If Emily Blunt can kill one of them with a single shotgun, how is it that, like,
she got it right in the...
an army has not, like, killed
You gotta shoot
all
them
of
right when
them?
their thing opens.
Yeah,
Right.
when they're
It's the
like,
same deal with,
they
I feel
can't
like,
just
every
because they
alien.
had armor, as we read on that whiteboard 4,000 times.
Yeah.
So that's when the hearing aid was like, "Nee," and it was like opening it up.
Yeah.
It was about to explode,
Yeah.
and she was like, bang, bang.
Also, okay, this girl was smart, right? The daughter. I feel like realistically, she totally would have figured out the hearing aid thing earlier.
Really,
And
I don't.
her
think
dad
she
wouldn't have had to die.
No, I mean, I honestly think that's kind of realistic. I mean,
no.
it was super painful, and, like, if you were panicking in that moment and you were having, like, a splitting
You wouldn't
pain
be like,
in your head,
wait,
and
a
you'd be like,
second.
maybe this is helping. Like,
It
no, you'd
happened,
be like,
two
oh
times.
god.
I don't know.
And, like, it wasn't making a clear difference. Like, the thing in that case, when she took it out, the thing wasn't, like, running away. Like, it was still there, you know?
No, it did.
So,
And
like,
I was just like,
tore a
no,
wall-
John
a hor-
Krasinski,
it
you
tore-
could have
tore a hole
lived.
through the wall.
no,
and
not
they
then.
stood-
Like, in the car when she took it out.
Yeah,
Like,
when
it
she took it
wasn't-
out.
Yeah.
It didn't, like, run away, you know? It wasn't having, like you could totally see if you were in the
I
inside of a
guess,
car and the
I
monster was on the
guess.
outside shaking the car, you know?
I guess I'm
it-
just
you
annoyed
wouldn't
that like
It was
I wish the
annoying
kids
for us.
would have gotten more credit while the parents are doing all this stuff, and I wish that the kids could have done some more of that stuff. At the end, you know, they get their moment, or at least the daughter does.
But the
like,
little boy does not do anything besides the fireworks, and then
That was pretty
That was
important.
good. That was
all
good.
he did was go and light something on fire. I could do that.
Oh my god, are you putting a pair of panties on your face? Oh,
That's
it's a
her
headband.
headband.
Things are getting pretty crazy in Studio 2.
Oh.
Anybody have anything else to throw in the ring?
John Krasinski's hot.
Yes.
With a beard.
I like the
The
beard.
beard is
With a
necessary.
beard,
The
without
beard
a
is
beard,
necessary.
any kind of beard. You're hot, John Krasinski. You too, Emily Blunt.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
How are they making food? What was that little device?
Did you see that thing?
It was like a grill in a box or something.
Grill in a box.
It's my grill in a box.
Yeah.
My grill in a box, girl.
Also, never mind.
No, say it.
Speak your truth, girl.
You're saying that to yourself?
I'm my own biggest encouragement. I guess, I don't know. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, there's some stuff in this movie that just, like, is... Never mind. It doesn't matter. Edit this out.
Okay. What is it? Now you just have to tell us.
I was just gonna say, I was just wondering out loud about, like, the electricity and how that worked. But then I was like...
There was no electricity. Oh, there
was definitely electricity. Also, there was a point where she was listening to an iPod, so we know she was charging
True.
it.
I was like, how do you charge that iPod?
But they also had the lights.
Player.
Yeah, when that played, I was like, okay, so the only sounds we will hear in this film are screams, gore, and Neil Young.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite genre of sound.
Yep.
Neil Young.
Also, I mean, like, the sound coming out of headphones would absolutely be enough to bring those creatures.
Yeah, she was blasting that bitch, and they were, like, pregnant. She's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when she had contractions and she didn't make a noise?
Yeah.
I have period cramps, and I'm like, I'm dying!
Woman of the Year. Also, what if you, like, stub your toe?
She got a nail in her fucking foot.
No, stubbing your toe is worse.
Oh, I just did.
Okay, I'm glad that you don't have your priorities
I have my priorities in order.
Order. Yep.
Well, I think that's all we've got. I would recommend that you go see this. I think it's a fun
Redbox or Netflix movie, baby, till I die.
Yeah, I don't think it's
like
necessary.
There's much less of a point to see this on
Listen, you've
DVD.
got to consider your audience that, like me, doesn't own a movie pass. Is this worth the money at the movie?
No,
theater?
this was a movie that I would see with a movie pass or not. But then I'd walk out and be like, why don't I just pay $11.50 to just stare at John Krasinski's fine ass face for like an hour?
Because it's worth it.
Maybe she's worth it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Well, I think that about sums it up. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being here.
We'll catch you next time
on
Shut Up and Watch.
I have a plan to preserve human life on this planet. I hope you will join with me in carrying it out.
Here at the college, majoring in linguistics and psychology, and my fun fact is Robin Williams wanted somebody to get my shit together.
Robin Williams?
Robin Williams.
Like in a dream?
No, in real life.
In the movie Aladdin?
No. Prince Ali, fabulous, Ali Ababa.